Welcome to the Goodish Girls, guys. My name is Dallas, and today I have with me the wonderful author Juliette Cross. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank y'all so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited. We are here to talk about her epic fantasy novel, Firebird.
Okay,
So
great.
we're talking Firebird in the Fire That Binds series. Right now, book one is out. Book two is coming soon. So as
Yeah.
our listeners know, I will be asking some fun
Oh,
questions,
yeah.
getting some
So excited. I'm
information
so
hopefully
excited for
about it.
Bloodsinger. Oh,
Ha,
okay.
yes, exactly. I want to talk really quick about the book itself and kind of what your inspiration was. So it's a reimagining of the Roman Empire, right? Not one of
Right.
historical accuracy, as you have
No.
said in the book. On literally page one, you let us know. You were like, "Hey, this
Yes.
is
Yeah.
not this is not real life. This is
You're going to
truly
see it
fiction. This
again
is
in the
what you're
third
reading."
author's note, like in the second and the
Right,
third. Like,
exactly.
I don't want historians coming after me because I did,
Yeah, no, and that makes
hodgepodge some
sense.
of things from history together as I needed, for the story. But
Yeah.
So, I mean, I will say, I've always been fascinated by, Roman civilization, Greek civilization. Like, I love ancient myths. I love ancient civilizations in general. But what fascinates me about Rome, and that's what served the story, this to tell the story of it's Melina and Julian, is that it's such a juxtaposition. On one hand, we have this really sophisticated culture. We have philosophers and artists and I mean, they had indoor plumbing, and heated floors and all of these things. But on the other side, they're invading and conquering and enslaving people across the world. So they're using this power, this greater power and this greater wealth that they have to dominate and, cause suffering and enslave others just for their own gain. And so, that's what the crux of the story is. I needed Melina to be inside those walls of Rome. Because it's one thing if
Yeah.
she's stationed and she's living outside the walls and she hears about the horrors of Rome. And I don't think I'm spoiling it too much because this happens super, super
Hmm.
early in the prologue. We learned that she is, her village was invaded and then she was captured and, later on and all this other kind of stuff. But I think it didn't make sense for me to have Melina on the outside looking in. I needed her
Yeah.
inside to know what people are really suffering in there. Because the
Hmm.
story, the overarching theme for all three books is about a free roam, um, killing our oppressors, which is great in
Hmm.
romanticy. We don't just have to do away with them. We're just going to kill them. We have to remove
Yeah.
them and create a whole new world. So, that is really part of the fantasy aspect beyond the dragons is that, and it's really these three women, these mystical women that are going to make that happen.
Well, that's incredible. And not only does she need to take a look inside it, she also needed, in my opinion, to see that not everybody that was in those walls was
Hmm.
truly bad, right? We know
Right.
there are some that are bad,
Right.
right? We
Right.
know, like, the Emperor, a lot of the other generals, like a lot of the dragon shifters, a
Hmm.
lot of people there, but not everybody. So I think it
Yes.
was really important and really imperative for her to go into those walls and see what it was really like.
Right. And I think, I probably borrowed from history subconsciously, from World War II, from,
Yeah.
the Nazi Germany and like all of these other times in history where we've seen this happen, where a
Hmm.
people was led astray by a dictator, a leader,
Yeah.
and the people had to fight back, And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. And another question that kind of leads into this was as you were writing this story, was it ever hard as an author, as a woman, as someone who lives, in the state of the world that we live in right now,
Hmm.
was it ever hard
Right.
to draw that line between the story that you were writing and real life history? Was there ever a time where you were like, "Ooh, this feels a little too real," or did you really just put it all in there?
No, I really wanted to if I was gonna take a risk, I wanted to take the risk, I
Yeah.
mean, it is history that guided this. It is the history of, a dominant patriarchy who abused people and
Hmm.
caused so much suffering, while at the same time being this glorified empire that guided my story. I think to step away from it and be like, "Well, the dictator's not so bad, like, he's kind of a good guy. He get" no.
Hmm.
No, I
He's
mean,
bad.
he's actually Igniculus, the emperor in the story, is fashioned after Caligula. And if you know any Roman history at all, he was a heinous, horrible person, who was in charge for a short time because he was assassinated. It's interesting you asked me that because I have a really good friend, Naima Simone's like, damn, when you go there, you go there. Like, she's like, I always
Mhm.
like that you don't shy away from the scary parts. And I'm like, I didn't think about it in those terms. I just knew that if I was going to tell a true story about, finding freedom, creating a new world, and doing away with the patriarchy, then I had to go
Mhm.
there. I had to
Yeah.
go into the darker places.
As an author, I would assume that you and from other authors that I've spoke to in the past as well, you know what's gonna happen at the end, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
so even when you're writing that, you're like, "It's okay. We're gonna get out of this. It's not gonna be bad forever. Like, it's bad right now, but we will make it through." So, I would think that that would help ease the writing process.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I knew. Now, of course, I don't know all the exact details, but I'm definitely what they call a plotter.
Mhm.
And in romantasy, I like to know how the very last book is going to end. I need to know what's going to happen there. And I did know the entire time before I wrote it, which I recently wrote that scene, and it was awesome to write.
Nice.
Yeah, 100%. I've kind of known where it's going to go the whole time. And I guess
Mhm.
that does give me a little bit of safety because I know it's going to all end well.
Right.
Um, Maybe not everybody's going to survive, but you know, all the main characters will for sure because this is a
Okay.
romance
Alright. Whew.
after all. It's like this is a romance, so they have to survive.
That's incredible. Speaking of plotting, it takes me into your world building. The map is huge. It's a
Yeah,
big map.
it is.
And did you have any difficulty building the world of Draconis?
No. I mean, and I didn't really have so world building is my favorite thing. It is my favorite thing to do. Creating a magic system and creating a world is my favorite part because I really thrive when I can just kind of like let my imagination go.
Mhm.
So that was the fun part, like reimagining the gods, like retelling Medusa's story, which of course I've always wanted to do. So that was really exciting to be able to retell
Yeah.
Medusa where she isn't punished for being
Mhm.
violated in the temple, but she is given a power, to
Yeah, and an
protect herself,
opportunity to, like, pay it forward too.
Right.
Yeah.
We know a man wrote that original myth, right? I mean,
Oh, yes, justice for Medusa
so,
every day of the week.
right, exactly. So those parts were really rather easy. It was more difficult confronting the history, historical
Mhm.
aspect of it, I would say.
Yeah. So in your writing process, do you have it as like a typed list or do you have a some people have a whiteboard where they write down all the names like did you
Uh,
when you were naming everything and kind of laying it
yeah.
all out, what was that inspiration for you as well or how close was that to the real life maps that we have? And I have no knowledge of any map, so I have nothing to refer it to.
Yeah. Well, the maps actually taken from an ancient Roman map. So
Oh,
there, those places actually did exist. And I knew I needed to be pretty big because I knew in book 3 they were going to kind of go over to Dalmatia, which is modern day Croatia.
mhm.
Gosh, just lay that out there. That happens later. And Dacia is modern day Romania, so that was
Mhm.
farther on the northern side. But then I also knew, I knew at the end of book 1, we were going to venture over to Britannia and cross
Right.
Hispania and everything. So, I mean, I would just say that, like, I don't want to say that it's easy, but it's easier for me to do the
Mhm.
creative world building than it is to wind the more difficult aspects of history into it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it was really interesting to me, and I did audiobook it. I'm glad I audiobooked it
Yeah.
because when I looked at it, it was hard for me as just a reader of myself
Mhm.
understanding the words and I think a lot of readers do struggle with that as well, and in a lot of fantasy books across
Right.
or
Yeah.
books in general,
Yeah, and
and
there's
our
a lot of
brain just kind of
Latin.
skims
Yeah,
over.
there's a lot of Latin in it.
Yeah,
So well, not a
which is
lot, but enough
beautiful.
to kind of throw things, be a
Yeah.
little bit more
So
difficult
if,
to read.
for our listeners and for your readers as well, if you are someone that struggles with really understanding or comprehending how things are pronounced or how things are
Mhm.
written, the audiobook did such a wonderful job
I'm
pronunciating and
I love
showing
my
us
narrators.
what it was. They were fabulous. When I was listening to it, I was like, this makes it so much easier for my brain to absorb it all. So even like I think an immersive read is really a good choice for this book specifically as well to
Yeah.
read it while you listen to it. So not only are you hearing the pronunciations, you're seeing
Mhm.
them at the same time. And I think that
Yeah.
is something that if I was going to read it all over for the first time again, that's what I would choose to do.
Yes, and, Blair and Kale, the 2 narrators they're just great actors, voice actors, they really
Mhm.
do bring the characters to life. They just do a phenomenal job, and I couldn't be happier with how things are going with, Bloodsinger and how some reviewers are feeling about it, so I'm really excited.
Yay. Oh, you answered my question too. Like if they're, they're I cuz on Audible I can see that they're coming back. I did look. I said, "Are they coming back for book 2?" Because
Yeah.
in book 2 there are different main characters. So I was wondering which direction you were going to go. So that's very exciting. You also answered another one
Yeah.
of my questions on, are we going to be exploring more places on the map? So you answered for book 3,
Yes.
which I love. In
Okay.
book 2, where are we thinking or where can you tell us where we're going in that map? Are we staying in
Uh,
some of the same locations?
we'll begin in Rome, and we will end somewhere else. We will cross different territories than you were in the first book, but I really
Okay, so maybe some
kinda wanna
newer
keep it a little.
areas.
Uh-huh. Yeah, for
Beautiful.
sure.
Okay. And then speaking of book 2 as well, so we have, Melina and Julian in book 1.
Mhm.
What
Yes.
is next for this pair? Because they are not the stars of the show as far as I have heard
No.
too. So what should we expect for them?
You Okay, well, you're definitely going to see them. I think readers are gonna be very happy when we see them because of the situation.
Mhm.
Because I think we're slowly doing some healing for the sisters, between book 1 and book 2, and I will say that Leela has had the most difficult time since her wedding night was
Mhm.
spoiled by the Romans who attacked their village. So and I will say I feel like book 2 is, like, much more emotional
Mhm.
in that regard, and Melina brings some light to the scenes that she's in. And I'm just gonna say, like, obviously in book 3, they're not gone either. They're gonna return as well, 'cause, that's gonna be the big finale, so
Yeah. So are we and you don't have to answer this if you're not ready yet. In book 3, are we anticipating a third set? Since you have original and then the
Yes.
sister and then maybe the
Yep.
other sister.
Yep.
Oh,
They're
all right.
interconnected standalones, and
Yeah.
actually you should be getting some news fairly soon on, book 3 because 'cause we've been to talking description, copy, and,
Mhm.
I just sent that to my editor this morning, and then also they're working, Carlos Quevedo is working on the cover, and I cannot wait because I think it is gonna be my favorite because of some of the elements that I have requested and hope are gonna show up on it.
Ooh, I'm
So,
very
yeah.
excited to see it. Yeah, the when I was walking to the bookstore many, many moons ago, like way before you and I even met at Romantic Con, any of that stuff, I remember walking past it and seeing the book and going,
Yeah.
I was like, that is stunning. I stopped my husband. I said, what is this book? I was not a
Oh
book
my
buying
gosh.
fan. I was not a
Oh,
buying
yeah,
fan. We were just looking. But I was like,
just
I
looking.
like that one. So yeah, I don't think I put it in there, but if you would like to talk about the inspiration behind the design of that cover, it is truly stunning.
Okay, so I have to give credit to a lot of credit to Monique Patterson, who is she originally was my editor over this series, and so we were working together on the cover, and she's like, "Well, I was thinking about Carlos Quevedo. How do you feel about that?" I'm like, "Oh my god, yes!" Like I've always admired his work. He's a fantastic artist. Other people might recognize he did Crescent City covers, so for Sarah J. Maas, so he's pretty renowned and
Yeah.
different in his style. His style is very kind of artistic. It's not, which
Mhm.
I love. It's not perfectly realistic, and I like that about his
Yeah.
work. So I was really excited about that. And then Monique said, "Well, I was thinking, perhaps we'll have Melina. She'll be standing and like, maybe there's wind and fire going around. Maybe her hair turns into
Mhm.
fire. Maybe like she's even wearing the or really her coin, her
Mhm.
talisman around her neck." And I was just like, yes, 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 like, everything. I'm like, "This is literally, like, everything." And then we thought about the dragon iconography, the jewelry and stuff she's wearing, and
Yeah.
then, of course, we put the red dress because Julian's a red dragon, so
Mhm.
that was kind of representing that. But I was blown away, though. I did not expect this sort of bronzy sheen that it has. It's
Mhm.
so stunning. The paperbacks are exactly the same. I thought they have the exact same look, the exact same
Yeah.
sheen that's on the paperbacks that come out actually next Tuesday, so I'm really excited about that.
Yay!
I know.
It caught my eye immediately, and even when I was scrolling through social media, when your Bloodsinger arcs are kinda out in the world at this
Yeah.
point in time, the cover is stunning for that as well. Was it did I'm
Yes.
assuming the same sort of thought process went in for that.
Right.
Was there
Yes.
anything different where you were looking at the second book and you were like, "Mm, I wanna do something a little bit different or go this kinda direction," or were you still the same route?
Well, we worked a little bit with, we had to consider Leela carefully, and I'll just say for those who and you know this by the time you get to the end of book 1,
Mhm.
that she has been in Rome and, for a while, and she's
Yep.
been, enslaved by a very cruel person. And so her story starts darker than Melina's, which I mean, I don't know. Melina's just starts pretty dark, but
Mhm.
there's a lot more emotion in Leela's story. I will say I tried to be very careful about how I handled her past, and there's nothing on the page, that hopefully will upset too many readers, but I do caution anyone, to look at the trigger warnings, the content warnings for this book before you read it. But I think Leela's story is very special because she becomes empowered quickly. Her power is so cool, and how she's able to not only avenge herself, but then
Mhm.
become part of the solution, not just, passive in any way, but no, I want to do this. I want to free others. I want to be a part of, this whole coup that's taking place. Like when she finds out what's happening, that there are
Right.
already allies within the city, Romans within the city who
Mhm.
want something new and different for their world, So it was very exciting to write Leela. It really was, but it was very difficult. It was, there's some tearful moments for me as a writer. So, but I'm like, and I know it sounds so crazy, but it's like, but I'm so proud of her. Like she's come a long way. And I think so. To go back to the cover, I'm sorry, I went away from the cover.
No, I
I,
love
I,
it.
I needed her to look like both. I didn't want her to look as vulnerable as Melina does. Melina has
Mhm.
almost a vulnerable look. And I think that's because
Yeah.
she's been on the outside looking in, and all of a sudden she's on
Mhm.
the inside and she's much more frightened. Leela has been there this whole time. She is so strong. She is so, um, just amazingly powerful in how she can, like, navigate this
Yeah.
world, amongst the dragons, amongst these monsters. And so
Mhm.
I wanted the look of her on the cover to be kind of like that moment she feels the power and the magic that's inside her, and it just kind of
Yeah.
like, she's like,
She stands a little taller.
yes,
Mhm. I
yes,
did
she
notice that.
does.
Yeah,
Yes.
not that she's more powerful than Melina, but she seems to have
She has a look in
more
her eyes that's
yeah,
like,
like a
I'm not
bigger fire in her
yes,
heart.
exactly.
Yes.
And
That's what
that's
I
how it
felt when I
is.
saw it.
Right.
I said,
Like,
"Who
I'm
is
not gonna
that?"
take any more, and you better look out.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, "I'm done. Everybody else sit
Yes.
down." Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and speaking of Leela Bihari, know a smidge about her, but not too much. So
Right.
we kinda know a little bit about now what journey she's going to go
Mhm.
on. Can you tell us yet what a blood singer is?
Sure. I have no problem telling you that. A blood singer, so this was the gift, and I'll just go ahead and tell you guys this, that, I have a myth at the beginning of each book, and so the second one is about the second sister, Riley, and these are actually from Greek and Roman myth. That is the name of, Medusa's
Mhm.
sister, one of her sisters. I've written it so that when she tastes blood, she can control that person. So if she tastes the blood of a man, she can tell him
Wild.
whatever and he has to obey. Yeah.
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 Wow. That's
Yes.
incredible.
It's I can't wait because I mean, you'll see why she's been unable. I don't want to spoil that too much,
Mhm.
but I think
Yeah.
you get the sample chapter was in the back of the first book. If you read
Mhm.
that, you know that she's kind of being controlled so that she cannot use her powers. But when she does, y'all,
They better be ready.
oh yeah,
Keep going for them.
it's
Yeah.
so fun. It's This one has a lot more action, I think, than book one. I think it's
Mhm.
to be honest, I think it's a better book than Firebird. Firebird was so exciting to write because it was a story I had in my head for a long time,
Mhm.
but I wasn't expecting Bloodsinger. It definitely feels like my sort of like Empire Strikes Back, I'm a Star
Mhm.
Wars fan. That middle, that
Yeah.
second book where it's just like everything's going chaos.
Well, I'd like to think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'd like to think that for an author, that is a goal to have, right? Like book one is
Mhm.
good, but book two is better, right? Because as you're
Yeah.
writing, you change, your characters develop,
Mhm.
things happen, right? So I think
Mhm.
that's amazing that you feel in your heart that book two is better. And I think the reviews that you're getting so far as well would agree. I've not read it
Yeah.
yet, so I can't say it yet, but I have no
Yeah.
doubt.
Well, that's what was so funny to me. I read a couple. I try to stay away from Goodreads, but I knew that a
Yeah.
couple of people had it, and that's the only place I can kind of check in and see, just kind of get a pulse of what people are thinking. And so
Hmm.
I did peek in there, and I was pleasantly surprised to see how many were saying this is better than the first book, and I'm like, yeah, it is. It really is.
Lots of good things being
I mean,
said.
personally, I think it is. I think it's a better book. So we'll see.
Incredible. And so you may or may not be able to answer this question. It kind of goes with what you just said. So we
Mhm.
know that Melina was able to protect herself in a way when
Mhm.
she was going to be harmed by the
Right.
other men around her.
Right.
Can we
Mhm.
expect Leela to be able to, not right now in the beginning, but eventually be able to do
Oh,
that
yeah.
same thing?
Yeah, she's so badass, y'all. She's oh, yeah, and worse. Yes. Yes.
Amazing.
Exclamation point.
Yes. And so when you're writing those scenes, right? And if you've read book 1, you know that there are some scenes in there that were hard emotionally to push
Right.
through. Even for myself too. There was a time where I had to pause the audiobook and just take a second and say,
Cool.
it's not real. She's gonna be fine. Like, but it's hard, right? And again, your audiobook narrators did a great job, and that's what you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to be in the
Right.
story. You're supposed to not be in the real world. That's the reason why we listen to these books and read these books is
Exactly.
so that we can escape our reality and go to somewhere else and
Mhm.
live someone else's story. And
Mhm.
when I read a book, I am the FMC always, no matter what. So I was
Yeah.
like, we're fine. Everything's fine. She's going to be okay. So, what is it like for you as an author when you write those specific scenes? And for example, and this is not a super spoiler, but like the one when they're at dinner with the emperor,
Oh,
or
yeah.
when, yeah,
The
because
feet.
that one was wild. That was
That so
a lot.
I'm gonna it was a lot. I was totally expecting my editor to come back and look, so this is the first traditionally published series I've done in a long time. And like I said, I do push myself a little bit in my books. And I was concerned about that scene. I was concerned my editor was gonna come
Hmm.
back and be like, I don't know this one. But I needed the readers, and it wasn't gratuitous. I needed the readers to see how bad and ridiculous truly was.
Yes,
Um,
agreed.
and again, it follows history because Caligula did this at dinner parties, except he wouldn't do it in front of everybody, but he would take somebody's wife and go to the back and then come back and critique her and talk about how it was and
Oh.
whatever. Right. So I took that idea and
Hmm.
I just cranked it up a notch because they're dragons. If they gave
Yeah.
into that bestial side, how much worse would it be?
Hmm.
So yeah, it's difficult sometimes. I mean, it gets my heart rate going when I'm writing those scenes for sure. I know that scene, like I said, I was nervous about it, but I was in it. Like I was like, no, this
Yeah.
is what he would do. This is what this, total, insane dictator would do.
Hmm.
He craves power, he's lustful, he's greedy, but most of all, it's he wants control and power. And
Hmm.
that would be the ultimate way to control anyone, you know? And
Yeah.
you'll see how it kind of translates a little bit in book 2.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's fair.
absolutely. I mean, I'm feeling all those things as well. I mean, again, I know they're gonna be okay, but I know writing certain scenes, I'll cry, my heart will be up a little bit and I'll have to take a break but I mean, that's what I love about writing. It takes me
Hmm.
into another world as well. Like that's why I love it. It gives me an avenue to speak about whatever I might be feeling or whatever's
Right.
going on in the world, or and cope with it the way I can.
That scene was really rough, and then another one of the scenes was when any of the, like, men or soldiers or
Mhm.
warriors are in half skin. I got
Yeah.
a little nervous. And so I have a question for you, and this can be on or off record, whatever you're comfortable with. You described what half skin was in such great detail. I didn't get it. me personally. I think other people
Mhm,
did. I think it was just me. So I wanted to ask when I think of it, right? So
mhm.
they have the horns,
Yes.
right? And
They're
they
almost
have
like
the
humanoid.
claws.
Mhm. They're almost like humanoid, like their bodies are human, but they're covered in scales. They have the dragon tail, they have the wings, the horns, and I always imagine their faces are not normal. They're not full dragon, but it's like they're contorted in a or
Okay. All right.
malformed a little bit, like their snout comes out a little bit, but they're not full dragon, so they can still speak, but
Mhm.
and I do differentiate between those who are able to speak in half skin and those who cannot,
Mhm.
those who are more monstrous on the inside
Right.
can't really
Okay.
tap into their humanity in half
Yeah.
skin. So,
That okay, that makes sense. I was like from the waist down, they're this, and then I was trying to picture it in my mind, and I imagined like
yeah.
a man chest, but without
Yeah.
scales. So it was with scales.
Yes, it's like
Okay.
their whole body's covered in scales, and it's just think of like a really, really tall, because I know I describe them as like 12 to 15 feet tall.
Mhm.
So you have to
Yeah.
imagine a giant just monster of a humanoid creature,
Mhm.
but with the tail and the wings and the horns and the claws.
Yeah, because it talks about their bones are cracking to get to that form that they
Right.
need to be in.
Yes.
So, and that okay, that makes more sense. I was gonna ask it because and I said you described it in incredible detail. My
I
brain just could not for some reason, and I even
yeah.
looked online. I was like, "What is the half skin?"
I know, I know.
Is there
I
any
made it up,
images?
so it's
No, I love it.
well,
I don't like
my
AI, but I
husband
was like, if there's an image out there that I could
I know
look at.
my husband was the same way when he read it, he's like, "I'm trying to picture this." I'm like, "I okay." And so, yeah, he struggled at first too, so, yeah, I get it. It's different because I made it up, it's not really a real thing, so but I
No, I
just
love
thought
it.
that, right, I just wanted this place between man and beast that they
Mhm.
could be, and, like, that's how they were able to conquer the world. They have their death riders flying in the sky, and then they
Yep.
have their officers in half skin. No human can go against them. Like, there's no possible
There's
way.
no
So, of
way.
course, right. So, yeah.
Well, there's even rules for them as well, like when they
Mhm.
can do that and when they are not allowed to do that, when they're allowed to
Right.
fly, not fly. Like
Right.
they are under more control than
Yeah.
I think that they would like to be. Can we expect any art from like book 2 or 3 or even book 1 in the future of other characters that you have created?
As a matter of fact, I actually have created artwork for Julian. And he is on. I think he was. Did I have my banner at Romantasy? I don't think. I think I had left that one at home. It's so sad. I have one of this 10-foot tall Julian, and
Oh, I
then
love dogs.
I'm commissioning an artwork of Leela and Trajan right now with Carlos, same artist. I'm
Oh,
using the
that'd be
same artist.
so cute.
Yeah, gonna include it in the packs for the midnight release party, and I'll have it at book cons as well. I just want um I want one of the couple together. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely, yes. We want this. We want this art. Yay. Oh, no, it's just nice when I mean, I personally love like looking at art. I don't think I'm alone on that. But
yeah,
trying to put a picture in my mind of what
hmm
you think as the author the characters look at, right? Because every
look
time
like
we read
right.
something, we create a different picture in our minds from the person that is
hmm
right next to us. So I think it's really incredible to really see what the author is seeing when she's writing the story or when he's writing the story.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I'm excited.
I'm so excited to see all the art and all the things and everything that's going to be going into book 2. So, speaking of book 2, we talked a little bit about Leela. I want to talk about Trajan
Yes.
Tiberius. We met him in book
hmm
1, right? So, he is a dragon shifter. He's
Yes.
also Julian's best friend and he's also part of the rebellion. So,
Yes.
he is a pretty big deal, but when I read the description, I didn't see it coming. Which a lot of times I usually can guess what's next, right? I was like, "No, I know what's
right.
happening." And then I was like, "Hold on."
Wait, him?
I was like, "R really?
That
Amazing,
like
okay."
that guy that's like clowning around in book one? Yeah. That's Trajan. So Trajan's family, and I mention it in book one,
Mhm.
has their ancestors founded the Senate. And so for me, the Senate is maybe not at this point, obviously, but is going to be like where the people have representation, have a voice, right? And you'll see what happens with the Senate in book 2. I can't say anything. But so I wanted him to have that connection to like the founding of
Mhm.
the Senate, and that it's a source of pride for him and his grandfather Gaius, and himself. And I needed a different character. I don't like to have the same personalities in
Mhm.
my interconnected standalones. I try really hard so that it feels like a different couple,
Yeah.
because so this story is very different. And obviously, Leela is very different from Melina, and Trajan is very different from Julian. Julian is very
Mhm.
stoic. He's very guarded. He's very, stoic, those kinds of things, where Trajan is more cunning and
Mhm.
clever and talks easily. At the same time, he's calculating and scheming and
Yep.
strategizing. And so that was a really fun character to write. He really was. So I hope you'll like him.
I'm excited to see what journey he goes on. And
Mhm.
I think it's fun to do that. I think it's fun to go into different books in, interconnected series and learn a new character altogether, as long
Mhm.
as we know what we're going into, right? It's in the description. You're
Right.
telling us now. So
Yes.
we're not going to be
Yes.
surprised when we open page 1 and go, "Where's Julian?" Because we
Yes.
know that it's
No. Yeah.
happening,
Right.
right? So I
Correct.
think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be incredible. And I'm correct that this was planned the whole time, right? Because you obviously had the
Yes.
three sisters. So was Trajan always the number one choice?
Yes, always. I always had Trajan in mind. And also Leland needs someone, I think, who is a little bit more, now I'm not gonna say that we still have the touch her and die vibes, obviously. He's not,
Mhm.
but I thought we needed someone who was just more open, more, because Leela is the one who's guarded, for
Yeah.
good reason. She's been protecting herself for a long time. And
Mhm.
so I think it's so interesting every time someone says in Firebird review or in reviews on Bloodsinger, it's a slow burn. I'm like, of course it is. Like there can't be
Yeah.
anything other in this kind of relationship. So
Right.
for me, it's like they trust comes hard for Leela. Yeah, so I definitely needed a different kind of man for her.
Yeah.
And Trajan is really the perfect. And like already I knew who was going to be book three's couple as well. So I've known that for a while. But
Mhm.
it just makes it so when I'm writing romantasy, I need to see these I like to see these nuanced layers to each book where, we have this thing, oh my gosh, like you're reading book two, you're like, oh my gosh, I remember when that happened. That's
Mhm.
connected to this thing. Oh, I get it now. Like
Right.
love, if I can do that well, I feel like I've been successful in telling a good story where you feel like this is a rich layered world where
Mhm.
that those people are connected to this and what's going on here.
Yeah.
And so that it carries through to tell one long story,
Mhm.
just with different perspectives and different points of view. So
Do we know or have we met our MMC for book 3? I won't push you any further than that, I promise.
you will meet him. Yes. Okay. Yes, you have. I'm sorry. You have met him.
Okay, we have met
You've
him.
already
All
met him
right.
in Firebird.
I'm letting the gears turn, so I gotta think about it and see and
Yeah,
take
you
my
met him in
guesses.
Firebird, and you'll see him again in Bloodsinger.
Okay. All right. I said I won't push you any further for on that. I promise. I won't push you for spoilers, but I wanted to know, like, is it someone I should be looking out for that we have not seen, a
I
new face? But okay,
mm-mm.
we have met him in Firebird, and we will meet him
Yes.
in Bloodsinger as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
Amazing. So, what's going on next with you as an author and your writing? Well, you said that you submitted the stuff for, I'm assuming, book 3, correct,
Yeah,
today.
Death Rider. Death Rider, the
Mhm.
first draft is written. It's with my editor. So I just finished that. I'm also going to be writing The Shadow Heir, which is book 3 in the North Gaul series this year, and that will wind that series up as well. It's going to be a trilogy. I'm also planning to go back to Southern Charm, which is the spinoff of Stay a Spell for the Stay a Spell readers. It's so funny. Like I feel like I go from one extreme to the other. I'm going like really dark, and then I'll just like, let me just go back to New Orleans and play with the witches and the vampires and the werewolves. Like they're like all light and fun and
Yeah.
funny. But it keeps my muse happy.
Mhm.
And I'm also working on my next big project, and I can't say anything, but I will say this, that I'm so excited about it. It's again something I've had, just like Firebird was something I had been thinking about for many, many years. This other one is I wrote the prologue probably 10 years ago and then stuck it
Mhm.
in a vault with my other things. And so yeah, I can't say anything yet, but I'm hoping by this summer, maybe we'll be able to make some announcements.
That's
So,
so exciting. I can't wait to
yeah.
see what it is. And did we say that the name for book 3 is Death Rider?
Death Rider. Yes.
Ooh, okay. And that's out, right? Is that out?
I don't think
I
it
don't know.
is.
I didn't know. I was like, I just wanted to make sure. I was like,
It's not out, but you know what? Go for it. I'm fine with you
okay,
letting it out of
perfect.
the
I
bag.
heard it and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
ooh, now I'm really intrigued. I'm ready for book 3.
Yeah. It was so fun to write. Oh gosh.
Oh, that
Exciting.
I'm excited for an epic conclusion.
Mm, Mum's the word.
I can
Not saying a
I can
word.
see you want to say it. I won't force you. I won't
Gosh,
push. Don't
so
worry.
badly. So, like, yeah, so I'm also so I'm like one of these weird authors that I'm very linear in writing. So I'll think about scenes, but I won't write them until I get there. So
Oh,
I've
okay, yeah.
had this final scene in mind since I wrote Firebird, and
Mhm.
I've been waiting and waiting. Literally the last chapter, of the book. Gosh, it was so exciting to write.
Wow. I hope
I
there's a
I
celebration planned, 'cause
yes.
that's a big deal.
Yeah, and it was difficult. Yeah, Death Rider, it was difficult for different reasons. It was just,
Mhm.
like you said, things going on in this world, but I have a deadline and I have to focus. And so I was just focusing and trying to
Yeah.
channel all of my, outside world anxieties into what's going on in book 3. But
Mhm.
and it's just unique in that we start in almost a totally different we start in a different place that's more peaceful, and then we go, back into Rome. So
Yep.
where lots of things happen, and I can't tell you.
And that's okay. That's okay that you can't tell us, right? We need to be surprised, right? We need to
Oh,
be able
yeah.
to go into the world not knowing exactly what's happening.
Mhm.
But when we're going into book 2 and book 3, is there anything you would like to tell your readers or maybe new readers coming into the series? Any information or things that you think that they should know or keep in mind as they're starting the Fire That Binds journey?
I think I would like to say, the these are love stories. These are love stories, 3 love stories, but it's also a story about these sisters and
Mhm.
about sisterhood and about female empowerment. And that has been central to me this entire time. I've never wavered from that. And I just hope that new readers will understand that while I might be putting characters into very difficult situations and emotionally, physically, in all those ways, there's a reason behind it. Because how can we show what their suffering truly is unless the characters are feeling it, unless they are the ones who are actually having it, not just seeing it across the way, or these other people are, we need to free them. No, they need to feel it. And so
Mhm.
I'm hoping that people can, keep an open mind and know that I tried to be very careful. I was very cognizant about what I'm writing about. We did have sensitivity readers for book 2. And
Can
because
I
I
ask what
wanted
that is? I've not heard of that.
a sensitivity reader,
Yeah.
so that is someone who reads for anything that might come across harmful for the reader.
Oh, okay.
And so they will look for, we might want to have a content warning about this, or you might want to rewrite this part because maybe that could, for whatever reason, could be harmful to the reader. And I will say this, that I was so happy and proud and felt almost vindicated in a way that the sensitivity reader absolutely loved Leela and Trajan. And she said that I handled it their situation very well, Leela's situation very carefully. Actually, she said it better than I could. I'd have to go back and look at the letter that she wrote to me about it because she sends me like the breakdown of everything. So yeah, I think I would just like ask readers to understand that this really is about women rising above the patriarchy
Mhm.
and with their partners, with their friends, with their family, taking back their lives
Yeah.
and freeing the people.
Mhm.
And that's what I want people to know.
Yeah. That's incredible. Well, and from what I read so far, obviously with book 1, yes, these women go through these awful things, right,
Right.
to grow and to learn, but you're also giving they have tools, thankfully, to help them overcome that
Yes.
as well, right?
Exactly.
It's not necessarily, "No, I'm in this terrible situation. Oh, no, all these bad things are happening. I have to wait
That
for
I'm
somebody to save
helpless.
me."
Right.
They're not
Yeah.
helpless, and they
Right.
know that.
Exactly.
Right? Like, Melina was never where she's like, "Oh," she was like, "I've
Yeah.
actually got" even to Julian, Julian's like, "Are
Yeah.
you gonna be o" she's like, "Bro, I'm not worried. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
fine."
Yeah.
Right?
And
So
Leela
it's
feels that way over the course of the book in book 2, but y'all, when you meet the heroine of book 3, oh yeah, she's total badass. Completely. It's
ooh,
just so fun. Oh my gosh, I just can't wait. I
3
just can't
fierce
wait. I'm just excited.
it's very exciting. You should be excited. That's incredible. So yeah, when when we're going to this series, keep an open mind, read your
Yeah.
content warnings, right? Our mental
Absolutely.
health matters
Absolutely.
across the
And
board.
if any of those things bother you, please do not read it. I do not
Yeah.
want anyone to be harmed by my writing. That is not my intention at all.
Yeah, which I think is a very fair statement. Like, know what you're going into. If you're ready, go into it. Enjoy
Yeah.
this fictional story and these 3 love stories that
Yeah.
are, really underneath all where we are again smashing the patriarchy.
Right.
We're learning to find love through all of these trials and
Through adversity
tribulations.
and difficulty and right.
Yes, exactly. That's incredible. So, I wanna shift a little bit over to back to the audiobook. So, we know that
Mhm.
it is going to be voiced by Blair Dade and Cale Williams. Can we expect
Yes.
that for book 3 as
Yes.
well? Or okay,
Yeah. Oh,
perfect.
yeah. I they already asked me. I'm like, "Yes, please."
Yay.
They're awesome.
They did such a great job.
Yeah, and even though I know it's like 3 totally different heroes and 3 totally different heroines, I think when you have great voice actors like that and
Mhm.
they just go well together,
Yeah.
I really wanted to keep that continuous.
Mhm.
I just can't imagine honestly. It's Cale Williams, when I heard him read some of Julian's part for the audition, I was like, "Oh my god, that's him. That's literally Julian speaking." It's just like, wow.
Wow.
But
That's so
yes.
surreal. What a surreal
Yeah.
moment to hear it.
Yeah.
Like, really
Very
going from
much.
your mind and your brain, and you're the only one that knows it, to that
Yeah.
hearing it, like,
And
truly
then
in
he's
real
speaking
life.
those words. I'm just like, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
And what's
fabulous.
great is, he and Blair, they will be reading for all, 3 by the time we
Mhm.
get to book 3, they'll still
Right.
be reading all of those characters. And I don't know, it's really cool. I think they did a fantastic job and I can't wait to see what they do
Mhm.
for the rest of the series, the final book.
I think that's a great choice because even though there are new characters in book
Mhm.
2 and book 3, we have their voices set from book 1, right? Like, we know
Mhm.
how Julian sounds. So, I love that Julian across the board, when we
Mhm.
see him and we get to, like, read parts where he is in, it's not changing,
Mhm.
right?
I think it
And same thing
also
for Melina as well.
correct. And I think I think it helps in telling the story. Like they know the story. They know
Mhm.
these characters now. So when they're carrying over to book 2 and then book 3, they're totally immersed in it and they know the
Yeah.
world. Do you know what I mean? I feel like
Yes.
they can tell a better story through their voices and their acting than if I would
Mhm.
start new and fresh with every book.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, 100%. They know what everyone's been through in book 1. They
Right.
were there the whole
So
time,
they
right? So
know
they
what
they know how
impression
to
they should
drag
be
that
making.
emotion over with
Right.
them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that was a wonderful choice. I'm glad
Yes.
as a
Yeah.
listener and a reader that you made that choice as an author,
Right.
right? Because obviously you're free to make that whatever you want it to be because it's your book and your
Mhm.
story and your world. But I'm grateful that you made that choice. You had your midnight release party, and tickets are still available for that. And when you
Yes.
go to that midnight release party, they're gonna get some artwork, right? As you had mentioned before.
Oh,
What
yeah.
else can you say about that
Oh,
midnight
yeah.
release party? Because this will come out before the book comes out. So if you are listening to this and you want to go, that is at this point still available.
Oh my gosh, y'all, I have commissioned quite a few customized gifts for those who come to the midnight release party. So we're gonna have a customized tote bag. Is it Cass Townsend with iridescent? I think it's iridescent fairy tale on Instagram. She has created
Oh,
this
she's great.
beautiful. She's created this beautiful metallic bookmark that will go in there, and the design from the bookmark will also be what's on the tote bag. I have, of course I have stickers. Of course I have stickers. I have
Oh,
some
yeah.
dragon
Gotta have
stickers and
stickers.
fabric stickers, but Tracy with Fire Drake Artistry is also going to be creating a beautiful woodwork piece. We have some just like fun little surprises in there. And then also Carlos is going to create the artwork for us.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, it's going to
Woo!
be yeah, I'm going all out. I'm like, if I'm
Yes.
gonna finally have a midnight release party, my first ever, then I want everybody who comes to feel
Oh,
the
that's
extra love, you
incredible.
know?
And
And
where is the party at?
it's in downtown Lafayette, Louisiana at Cavalier House Books. You can, if you want to buy a ticket, you can get a ticket for the pre-order of the book that will get signed, of course, or if you want to
Mhm.
just come, you can get a general admission ticket as well and just come. And I think it's like $5 or $6 for the general
Oh,
admission
beautiful.
ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all.
So
And are
we're gonna have
you
fun.
during your party, are you in conversation with anybody? Like, as far as, like, interview, things like that? Who are you talking to?
I don't think so. I think they may do some Q&A, but we're mostly gonna be, like, playing games and stuff. Like, it's gonna
Oh,
be
that's so
fun. Yeah.
fun.
Like, I am gonna do some Q&A, toward the end before the signing, but
Yeah.
we're gonna mostly be playing games, and we have snacks and all kinds of stuff. It's gonna be great. And, cake, of course.
Oh, yes, you have to have cake. Yes. It's not a party without it, honestly.
Right?
And so are you after this, are you going is there a book tour coming up, or what's
There
your next
is.
step after the release? And do you have locations
Yes.
chosen yet?
I don't have I mean, I do and I don't. We're still finalizing the schedule. I will say that these are places I've never been before. So a few on the East Coast, Northeast, Philadelphia area,
Mhm.
and then possibly one or two stops in the Midwest. And then I'll also be at the LA Times Book Festival in California. And then I'll be heading back to a Polycon. But I don't have all of the places exactly, so I don't want to say, but
Yeah,
yeah, that will be
that's fair.
posted on my Instagram very soon. So
Amazing. So yeah, keep a look on her socials, and I'm sure we'll share on our stories as well. So you
yeah,
guys can keep a look on
thank
our
you.
socials too,
Yeah.
and maybe Orlando will be on the list.
Oh, well,
Maybe. I
not
know
for the
you've
book
been here
tour.
before,
I know.
but
I don't think it is for the book tour, but I'm definitely going again for Romantasy. So I'll be there for
oh
Romantasy
yeah,
this year.
amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see you. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me
Thank you,
today.
Dallas. It was awesome. I
This
appreciate
was
it.
so much fun.
Yeah.
I have been waiting to talk to you about this book for a hot minute, so I'm so excited to finally get all of my questions answered. So, Bloodsinger again, guys, is out on April 7th. If you'd like to go to
Mhm.
her midnight release party, which has so many wonderful
Ooh.
things, you guys are being spoiled.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say one thing because I know that's gonna have been released by the time you let this out. Walmart is actually gonna have an exclusive if you pre-order through them. They are have gonna have a matted print of the Julian artwork, and it's really, really stunning with a dragon stamp on the matting. It's really pretty.
And
So,
that is for Bloodsinger, or is that for
Bloodsinger
Firebird?
for Bloodsinger. Mhm.
Okay, so if you
Yeah.
pre-order it through Walmart,
Yes. They're gonna,
then you've got the
you'll
artwork.
get the artwork. Yes.
I need that in
So
my life.
I know.
I
Look,
need Julian artwork
I
in my life.
literally just saw the little graphics today and I was like, my goodness, Walmart. So that's gonna
Yes.
be exciting. Yeah.
We all
Crazy.
need that in our life. And if you are gonna grab that, if you truly are interested in that, my friends, please like truly pre-order it, because once, from my personal experience, and if someone else has a different experience, let me
Yeah,
know what I'm doing incorrectly. Because once it's released in Walmart and it's like the special editions are gone, it's so hard to find them.
it
So
is.
get your
Yeah.
pre-orders in. I will get my pre-order in so we can all have our beautiful books and our artwork of Julian.
Yes, a little free artwork. It's pretty. You'll see. You'll see soon.
I have no doubt it's gonna be beautiful, and I'm so excited to see it. So thank you so much for joining us today. This
Thank
was
you.
wonderful. April 7th, Bloodsinger will be in our hands, and your midnight release party is going to be incredible. And again, tickets are still available for that. So we'll probably put the link in our show notes. So if you are interested in
Okay.
going to her midnight release party, check out the show notes below, and you guys can go to that and have so much fun. That's going to be
Thank you
amazing.
so
Thank you so much
much.
for
It's a
joining
pleasure
us.
being here. I appreciate you having me.